Hello, this is Patrick Ring again. This is a continuation of the video on lump sum versus annuity. I've added a few items. I've added the joint and 100% survivor option to the analysis. And also I realized that another survival table is needed for the joint and survivor annuities. That's different than the single life survival rate. Because the probability of payment under the joint and survivor annuities equals the probability that either you or your survivor are alive, rather than just on the probability that you are alive. So this column here gives you the probability of the survival of either one of you or your spouse. Oh, and I've also added this annuity rate of return, which is the annual annuity amount divided by the lump sum, which is a popular way to determine whether you should choose the annuity versus the lump sum. But be very careful here, because you and your survivor will not realize that rate of return if you are dead. On the other hand, on the IRA rate of return, that rate of return will be realized regardless of mortality, because it will either be paid to you, your survivor, or your estate. So to compare apples to apples, the annuity rate of return needs to be discounted for mortality. So this, I use this survival table here, and it turns out that the mortality discount for the single life annuity rate of return is 40%, and the annuity rate of return, the discount for that for joint and survivor annuity is 26%, or stated another way, you take the annuity rate of return and multiply it by 60% for a single life annuity to compare it to the IRA rate of return, and you take the annuity rate of return for the joint and survivor annuities multiplied by 74% to arrive at a rate of return comparable to the IRA rate of return. Now I want to refresh the analysis using a 401k example. So let's say that your 401k has a balance of 500,000 and you're ready to retire. Now you can either take that lump sum, roll it over an IRA, or perhaps your employer is offering you an annuity, or an insurance company is offering you an annuity of $30,000 in exchange for that $500,000 lump sum. So you've got to decide which is the better deal. Well, you've got to assume a IRA rate of return to do the analysis, and I'm going to start out with 3% like I ended up with in the prior video. So 3% assumed IRA rate of return. And you can see here the annuity rate of return for the single life annuity is 6%. If you multiply by 60%, you get 3.6% is actually the annuity rate of return you should use when comparing to the IRA rate of return. But I'm not going to use the annuity rate of return method for determining which option is the better one. I'm going to use only the break-even age, which is, again, where the annuity is a better deal if you survive to that break-even age. So let's go and find this break-even age for a single life annuity of $30,000 and compare that to the lump sum of $500,000. So the break-even age is where the 30,000 exceeds the balance in the IRA. So that's age 87. So the break-even age here is 87, and the probability of surviving to 87 is 51%. So it's a 50-50 choice here. So there's a 50% or 51% chance of living to age 87, and if you do, then the annuities would have been the better option. On the other hand, there's close to a 50% chance that you will die before 87. If that happened, then the lump sum is the better option. So you've got to consider, do you really think you're going to live to 87? Another thing, if you're really on the fence, one thing that might tip the balance is that the IRA has much more flexibility. You may not need that $30,000 every year. So that's a consideration. Another consideration, if you have other sources of income, Social Security would be one, but if you have other sources of income also, that would probably tip the balance to taking the lump sum. But again, if the 401k is your only source of income other than Social Security, then you might take the annuity. Another consideration is I've changed my opinion on the 3%. I think I could sleep better. I mean, I could sleep well at night if I had assumed 4%. So if I put in 4% return on the IRA, the break-even age gets bumped up to 92. So their survival rate of 92 is 28% survival. So there's a 28% chance of surviving to 92, making the annuity the better option. Another way to look at it is there's close to a 70% chance of dying before 92, or a 70% chance that the lump sum is the better option, assuming 4%. Combined with the flexibility of the IRA, I would probably go, and plus I do have other source of income. I would probably, in this case, go to the choose the lump sum. So anyway, let's go back at 3% and look at the joint and 50% survivor. Again, this annuity rate of return shows 6% for joint and survivor annuities. To compare to make an apple-to-apple comparison to the IRA rate of return, you would take the 6% multiplied by 74%. So the break-even age here is, let's see, we look at this at the survivor benefit when that is bigger than the IRA survivor benefit, and that happens at age 85. So here the break-even age is 85. So there's an 83% chance of surviving to age 85. So there's an 83% chance that the annuity is the better option. So in this case, I would take the annuity. So if you're offered an annuity of 30,000 or more, then definitely take the annuity. Let's look at the joint and 100% survivor option. Okay, and now the break-even age here is right at age 87. Ah, 87. Interesting. Okay. Now, the look at the probability of survival here is higher than the one for the single life because, as I stated earlier, this is the probability that either you or your survivor survives. So in this case, this looks like a pretty sure thing that the annuity is the better option.